Welcome back to the channel, everyone. And plenty of things we want to get talking about tonight. It looks like we've got two deals are pretty close to being complete. I guess Zirkzee is the more advanced between the deals, also including De Ligt, but it does look like United are making progress on both deals. There's talks of Bayern Munich for Matthias De Ligt, and of course, Manchester United are very, very close to getting the deal done for Joshua Zirkzee. Personal terms agreed. Of course, United deciding whether or not to pull the trigger on the release clause now or to try and negotiate a separate deal. All depends on cash flows and how much money we have in the bank at this current moment, but this is a deal that's going to get done very, very soon. We got Fabrizio Romano saying it's almost at that here we go stage. That's pretty much nailed on confirmation as far as I stand. And yeah, look, I'm excited. He's a refreshingly different profile, a refreshingly different player who might not add a lot of goals on his own right. He might score 10 goals next season, but he will make us play better up front. He will give us that kind of ability in those front areas, link us up better, and if we can get more out of Rashford's and Garnacho, for instance, Bruno Fernandes, get more of these types of players, then that's also going to be good for our team, and it will be a different type of player for us as well. So plenty of stories to come from. We have Jimmy Jackson, of course. United are closing in on Zirkzee from Bologna after agreeing terms with the striker, and his agent commission has been agreed. The club are deliberating whether to pay his release clause in full or negotiate a slightly higher fee that could be paid in installments due to cash flows. Hello to Batham, good to see you, buddy, and big ups to Bodie on YouTube as well. Good to see you guys joining in with us. But yeah, look, this deal for Zirkzee is looking very good. It's in terms of deal progress. We got Romano last night saying that it's almost at that here we go stage with AC Milan basically officially pulling out of the race. It's been an interesting day for United anyway. We've got, of course, United coming back to pre-season training. We've got, I think, Ruud van Nistelrooy through the door. We have the new goalkeeping coach. We've had Wilcox turning up. I think Dan Ashworth was there as well today. Sancho back in training. No Greenwood. Lots and lots of stuff we do want to get touching on and go through, I guess, on tonight's show. But look, Ibrahimovic high up on the Milan board, of course, as he confirms Milan are out of the Zirkzee race. He said he is in the past. As Paolo said, we are going for a new player now. We have a player in mind, won't say his name. It's somebody else. So it does look like that is a deal that's going to get done. The biggest competitors are out. We've agreed personal terms. We've agreed agent commissions. We're just deliberating whether to pay the release clause in full and take a big whack out of our summer transfer, or to go and say, let's, instead of paying you £34 million, we'll pay you £40 million, but we'll spread it out £10 million a year for 4 seasons instead of playing it all up front. That's basically all United's decision making is now. Zirkzee, he's still on international duty until at least Tuesday or Wednesday, I think, so don't expect too much in the next couple of days. He will, of course, finish European Championships. He could go the whole way to the final with the Dutch at the weekend, so maybe that could push things back. But it's a kind of frustrating point. I told you guys about this. You know, we're going after De Ligt, we're going after Zirkzee. We have 2 players in the semi-final of Euro 2024. If rumours are to be believed on Ugarte as well, I'm pretty sure Uruguay have got into the semi-finals of Copa America. So that's just one of those frustrating things. It's just one of those years with international tournaments. Nothing we can really do about it at the minute. But once they're done, do expect to see the movement on those deals really come to the forefront. But it's good to see we're getting things put in order. It's good to see that we have personal terms agreed, agent fees agreed, and now if we can get the deal done with Bologna as soon as the Netherlands drop out of the European Championship, be it in the semi-final, be it after the final, we can get the Zirkzee deal done, get him on pre-season training. That will be good for him. And I would imagine it's the same situation for Matthias De Ligt, maybe slightly behind on the Zirkzee deal in terms of overall progression, but we're getting there. We're getting there slowly but surely. Guys, we got 20 votes on today's poll. I'm asking you guys how many transfers we're going to make this summer. And the reason I ask that is because at the minute we got 3 strong links. We got 3 players who we do look to have made contact with, made negotiations for, had bids for, and those, of course, are Ugarte, they are De Ligt and Zirkzee. Will we sign any more players than that? Will we go for 5, 6, even more? Who knows? I think Three are nailed on. I think after that, we're looking at sales to try bring up our initial cash flows. Like I've said many times, the easiest way to think about transfer windows in this current day and age is essentially Klarna buying. We will be buying players. We might spend a reported £200 million on total fees, but we might only pay 50 million this year, and then it'll be 50 million next year and 50 million the year after that. And that's kind of how deals work. So a lot of it will depend on what we can do in this upcoming window, and some sales will be very important. And one of those important sales that we would like to bring your attention to is Mason Greenwood. Marseille have made a verbal approach to United for Mason Greenwood. Talks are now underway, and Marseille see him as their main target. United would also be open to a loan with a buy obligation with a big sell-on clause if a permanent deal cannot be agreed in this window. So it does look like we'll see movement on Greenwood. He hasn't returned to training as well today. That's coming from David Ornstein, so I would take that pretty factually. He was not at training today. Is there some kind of talks being told there? I'm not too sure. And we do have an interesting side report I would like to talk about as well. As we know, Donny van de Beek heavily linked to Girona. That's a deal for 500,000. But during the discussions for Donny van de Beek, United have discussed Miguel Gutierrez, a left back from Girona. The deal is in early stages now with nothing advanced, but there has been talks. United are clearly interested. That's coming from, I think, the United Stand. So that's worth paying attention to. That's worth having a look at and seeing if anything is going to materialise there. I do think we need a left back because we can't rely on Luke Shaw. We can't rely on Tyrell Malacia. Sergio Reguilon has left the club. We got rid of Alex Telles last summer. So, we went from having 3 or 4 left backs to having 1 or 2, and they've been injured ever since. So definitely big decisions to be made there. The De Ligt story now is one that does continue to grow. It continues to grow in intensity and to grow in expectation, and we're seeing this from a lot of our good sources, our Romanos, our Ornsteins. We are interested in De Ligt. We do seem to want Matthias De Ligt, and it does look like he wants to come to Manchester United. Reports from Pletty reports from, I'm pretty sure, Christian Falk as well, so that could be Bild in Germany, and they are potentially getting ready to sell Matthias De Ligt. They seem happy to sell him. He looks to have chosen United, and I would say this is a deal that's going to get done. If we want him, he wants to come here, and Bayern Munich want to sell him to us, then that's the 3 components of any successful transfer. So, things are going to be getting pretty close, I think. Fabrizio Romano last night confirmed United have green lights from both Joshua Zirkzee and Matthias De Ligt. Both players have spoken with Erik ten Hag and now are ready to advance on the club side in the coming days. In terms of Zirkzee, all approved on salary, wages and commission. So Zirkzee does look to be our first summer signing. He is a striker. He is not a prolific striker. He's not a guy who's going to score 30 goals next season. He is a guy who's going to link the play. He's a guy who's going to be a very, very different option to what we have. Maybe something similar to what we've seen at Liverpool out of Roberto Firmino. Maybe something we see a little shade from Anthony Martial. Maybe not the most prolific, but he's definitely going to help us play better up front, link things up, and pick up some interesting areas as well. I got Rajat down there. Good to see you, buddy. How's it going? Romano in the last 5 minutes, guys. I would like to tell you guys more on the Greenwood. In any case, United will include a big sell-on clause. They're looking 30, 40, even 50% of future sales. United are in talks with Marseille. Marseille are getting closer after sending an official bid earlier today. Formal bid was sent. Of course, United open to loan to buy as well. So we're keeping their options open. We're keeping everything remaining possible. And I think Greenwood's an important sale because that's money we can take right from Greenwood, but right into the transfer budget. And look, whilst we might say £25 million, £30 million, maybe that's not all that much money, but in the context of transfers at the moment, that is quite a bit of money. That could be 1 or 2 players signed for that, with the upfront fees being paid off by those players. But it's an interesting one. It's one that we need to keep an eye out on. It's one that we need to follow closely because I think that's an important sale. Other sales we could look at, I guess you're going to start looking maybe at Maguire, McTominay, potentially Sancho, another one. likely sales. Casemiro, I think, is an essential sale that we get that one done. Bad Time says, can't wait for Marseille to sell him to Galatasaray for 8 million. Yeah, we'll have to sell him to Galatasaray for 8 million. In what? That's like £4 million for us, I guess. So we get a double deal. I don't know. United would probably be happy with that. Guys, we've got 10 likes on the stream anyway. Can we get some more? Can we get up to maybe 20, if possible? And yeah, look, it's an interesting one anyway, and I think Greenwood's going to be an important sale. I wouldn't be surprised to see more academy players sold, or just players who've come through the youth system in general. So maybe that's why you do potentially look at McTominay. Not that I think we should sell him, but I would kind of understand it from the PSR rules if that was a club decision. If a really good bid came in for McTominay, you know, I would probably understand it in that sense. But I think it's important. Raja, do Milan have chances to get Zirkzee done? No, they don't, buddy. They have no chance of getting that deal done. We had Zlatan Ibrahimovic involved on, of course, the AC Milan board, said that they have moved on from that deal. They'll target somebody else, but he's not going to tell us who it is. So I don't know. So they've basically ruled themselves out of that their deal. So I'm happy enough with that anyway. Just some interesting stats to give you guys anyway on Zirkzee. Decent presser of the ball. Second in winning offensive duels out of any striker in the league. Second in terms of interceptions. He had the third most passes. He had the third most defensive duels as well. So he will bring some quality, I guess, maybe from leading the press point of view. I would be keen to know what he's like aerially. I'm not too sure he's strongest in the air, despite being 6'3", which is a little disappointing. I think we do need more aerial presences. Is he like Anthony Martial, Julian Alvarez type? Yeah, but he's deceptively big. Like there was a photo of Zirkzee alongside Robert Lewandowski, and he was genuinely head and shoulders above Lewandowski. Of course, obviously the hair helps, but he's got a big frame on him. He's pretty quick. He's very, very good first touch, and he can help us link the plays. A different option. It is conceivable that you go Zirkzee and Højlund up top. Maybe you try that there as a different option. You know, it gives us different utilities, I guess. And you know, should you ever want to play that there, should you ever want to play a false nine, I guess, put Zirkzee right in there. He probably fit in nicely, but he will help, I guess. He will help. Anyway, another player we are heavily linked to, guys, is Manuel Ugarte. Now, this is an interesting one. I think limited on-ball quality. I think he's weaker in the air than what I want him to be. I think in terms of interceptions, really good. I think he's an aggressive player. I think he will bring a certain tenacity to the game, a certain bit of grittiness to the game for United. I'm just not convinced of him as our number 6, to be honest, guys. I don't think he's got the quality on the ball that we need. And I would worry about him early. Early, he can be quite weak, and you would want your number 6 to be strong in the air. Despite the fact I'm not, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Casemiro last season, he's always maintained that aerial ability. He's always been pretty good at winning headers, both offensively and defensively. But I think we need a real physical presence in there, a genuine floor raiser of the overall physicality of our team. I think that's really important that we go out and get someone like that. And I know you guys are sick of me saying Amadou Onana, but I just think he's a perfect fit. I really, really do. So look, if we get Ugarte, I will understand it. I'm maybe not the biggest fan of the move. I'm certainly going to give him a chance. I'm certainly going to say that he does have qualities, very good at intercepting the ball, very good at forcing turnovers in that sense, and he attempts a lot of tackles. He doesn't necessarily win a lot of tackles, I guess, but he's got qualities. He does have his qualities. He does have a certain tenacity. He does have a certain bit of bite in this game that maybe we have lacked in midfield. Maybe we have been too passive. But I think if you do get Ugarte in, I think you still need to sign another midfielder to play in the deep positions. I really do. I think if you went for Ugarte and maybe you signed Yusuf Fofana from AS Monaco, maybe that could be an interesting move, because Fofana would probably give us the other missing ingredients to the midfield balance that we've been looking for. So that's maybe something to watch out for. But Ugarte by himself as a lone 6, I don't think that's the one for me personally, but there definitely is. There is definitely some interesting stories, and it does look like things are starting to pick up. Bourne is down there. I think selling Greenwood to the French league won't do much in terms of selling clause, at least if he was more Serie A, La Liga. It's one of those ones. See, selling to the French league could be interesting in the sense that, if you think about it, French league, a lot of their clubs are in financial difficulty. I think 7 or 8 are really struggling at the minute. Perhaps you're more likely to get a sale from the French league than you are from La Liga or Serie A. Even if it does tend to be a smaller sale, I think you're more guaranteed to make that. Like if Greenwood goes there and scores 20 goals in the league next season, he might get a bigger move to a Juventus or to an Inter Milan or someone like that, and they might pay 30-40 million, and if we get half of that, then that's another 20 million pound for us. I don't know. Look, there's different options out there. Guys, make sure to vote on the poll as well. How many players do you think we're going to sign this summer? I think 3's on the low end. I think probably 3 to 5. If you told me we signed 4 or 5 players, I think that would make sense in my head. I think that's what I can see happening. I think, yeah, De Ligt seems to be pretty nailed on. Zirkzee is very close to getting done. Ugarte, the interest is definitely there. He seems interested in a move. So that's all positive. I think then you look at a left back. I think then maybe you look at a second midfielder or a second centre back. And I think that's probably about all we get done. Unless we try to be smart and go into the free agent market, or look maybe to bring in another loan deal or two, something like that perhaps. But I think that's starting to get close to what you need there. Emmanuel says Ugarte is a man. Rajat says he's an upgrade physically. Very good at tackling. He's very tenacious. He is a very tenacious player, and he will attempt a lot of tackles. He's very good at intercepting the ball. I think that's something that could be beneficial for United, in the sense that we do. If you think about us last season, something we've seen very often was the forward line pressing high in the back line, sitting back. We obviously don't want that there, but if Ugarte is able to cut out some of the quick transitional passing from the opposition and intercept it, help us turn them back over and counter pressing and stuff, that could be an interesting dynamic to add, I guess. But he wouldn't be, if he told me it was just Ugarte by himself and nobody else, I would be a little bit concerned still. I would be just a little bit. Rajat said Manu can do transition ball. Ugarte's job is to tackle, intercept, and win the ball back. Yeah, but look, I think for me, he's pretty weak in the air, and that does worry me. I want to see us be strong in both boxes, and for all of Casemiro's faults last season, he was very, very good in both boxes, a set piece threat and a key defender off set pieces in our own box. So I don't think you want to lose that necessarily, and you want to try and improve upon it. Winning your headers really important in the game, and I think even if you look at the stats for Ugarte, let me just have a quick check for that there. I think his win rate in the air is like 42%, something like that. So slightly concerning maybe. Yeah, he wins 0.66 aerials per game, which is in the bottom 37% of footballers in Europe, which isn't that impressive. Now, obviously, look, he'll have been playing a very different role. Maybe it's more fitting, I guess, to look at him playing for Sporting Lisbon, where he was settled and was a key player, than opposed to Paris Saint-Germain. But we can only really go off last season, in my opinion. Dad says, doesn't look like he'd be easy bullied. I think he's got that temperament, and he definitely would be a feisty player, and I think sometimes we do lack that, and I'm not surprised that we would be linked to a player of that nature. I'm just not 100% convinced. I still think Fofana from Monaco could be a better shout. Just personally, he's taller, he's stronger, and I think he would give some very similar qualities as well, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm pretty open-minded. Big ups to Katie down there. Good to see you, buddy. Rajat said Ugarte is good with attention. Yeah, look, I was impressed with him against Brazil. He stood up and took a penalty in a penalty shootout in a semi-final of Copa America. So he's obviously got a temperament. He's obviously got a mentality about him, and that's good. But I guess we're gonna say it. Born is down there as well. Thanks. Oh, I seen that there. Sorry. Was there another comment I must have missed? No, there's not even. Guys, we got 16 likes in today's video. Big ups for that one as well. Much appreciated. And And yeah, look, it's been an interesting day, I guess. Apart from the transfer stuff, we had United returning to pre-season. Ruud van Nistelrooy, of course, was there. We haven't, as of yet, had an official announcement on Ruud, I don't think, but it's pretty much done deal. I mean, if he's at Carrington, surely it's done by this point. Anyway, we have United Stan saying that Sancho was back in training today as well. And according to Matt Hughes of The Telegraph, United would be interested in Mark Gahey, but I'm not too sure about that one. I can't see that deal happening. Anyway, some Italian sources have told us Sancho has rejected an important offer this morning, and his intention is to wait for Juventus. That could be a potential move. Getty said, "Don't recognise you efficient United." I'm buzzing. Yeah, look, honestly, I'm the same. Like, it's good to see us be efficient, and clearly we are working on more than one deal at the one time, which I think is really good. I think that's important that we do that. Looks like we're making progress on De Ligt. It looks like Zirkzee is pretty much a done deal. The only question is, are we going to pay the buyout clause in full upfront, or are we going to pay slightly more to spread the payments out? That seems to be the only question about that. Everything else is done. Ugarte, there's been contact with club and the player. The player seems keen on the move, and Paris Saint-Germain would be willing to sell for the right price. United's going to try work them down, I guess. So it looks like there's 15 million between the clubs, not there one. United think 35, PSG think 50. They'll probably meet around 42 or something. That'll probably end up happening. But we do have a couple of other stories, I guess, just on United. Maguire and Anthony back in training. Casemiro and Wan-Bissaka were there today. Victor Lindelof was there as well. Ahmad, Mason Mount back. Andre Onana back. Ten Hag back. So United getting ready, getting geared up for another pre-season. And yeah, look, some interesting talk coming out anyway. I think Greenwood to Marseille is one to watch out for on the sale front. I think this deal gets done, and I think it gets done pretty quickly. Big ups to Hashley as well. Am I the only one to have reserves on Zirkzee? Just depends, really, what we expect from Zirkzee. I would have reservations if we're bringing him in to be the guy who's going to score 20 goals next season, because he's not going to do that. That's not really his game. I think he got like 11 or 12 goals for Bologna last season. What he's good at is linking the play. What he's good at is making the front line that exists better. He's more of a facilitator in a lot of ways, kind of in the same way that a Firmino maybe wasn't the most prolific of players for Liverpool, but he got the most out of Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah, so it kind of balanced out. Maybe that could be the trick to getting more goals from this team. I'm not too sure. As we know, Højlund looked really isolated in a lot of his games last season. Yeah, he got 16 goals, but there was a lot of matches where he didn't even get a shot. He barely got a pass. Hopefully Zirkzee can be more involved, I guess, but it's just all questions, because if you do go back to playing Bruno in that number 10 spot, is Zirkzee dropping going to get in the same positions as what Bruno is? What Zirkzee would need is runners from deep. Could that be Bruno? Could that be Manu? Could that be Mount? I'm not too sure. But I think it all depends on expectations. I wouldn't expect Zirkzee to score 20, 25 goals next season, but I think he's a player who might add another 20, 25 goals across his appearances, from goals, assists, facilitating play, bringing people out of position, dropping deep, trying to disrupt stubborn backlines. It's just a different option. It's something different to have, and it's just something that gives us a different edge, I guess. Whereas Højlund will want to play up against the centre backs, play on their shoulders and stuff. Zirkzee might drop deep, and that means somebody has to go with him. That leaves space and stuff. It's just a different option to have. I guess it's a different tool in an arsenal, but we'll see how it works out. We'll see how it works out. There was issues at Bayern Munich. There was question marks over his attitude and his work rate and stuff at times as well. So it's worth keeping an eye out on. Hopefully Bologna has helped him grow into a player. Had a very good season with them last year. We have two other stories I'd like to give you guys as well. Sofian Amrabat is still waiting on United. The club are taking their time with the decision, but the option to keep him is there. And as well as that, we had Jared Branthwaite. The only way for United to sign Branthwaite in this summer is if Everton lower their asking price. United have no intention of going up to Everton's £65 million valuation. And then there was Lenny Yoro as well. Yoro is the dream centre-back target for United, but PSG and Liverpool are also interested. The player only wants to join Real Madrid. That's pretty much done and dusted. They're looking at centre back. They've just lost Nacho. They're probably going to send Lenny Yoro. Big ups to Luman. Surely we brought in Van Nistelrooy to improve the old and new. Yeah, I'm sure we did, but he's not just coming in as, I guess, a one-on-one coach. He's not coming in to replace Benny McCarthy. He's coming in as one of the senior coaches. So there will be tactical input from Van Nistelrooy and the team. I'll think it's the same with this guy Haka as well, or Haka. We'll see that kind of tactical input. They're probably replacing McLaren, probably replacing Eric Ramsey. I'm not too sure what happens with Van der Gaag. Does he stay? Does he go? There's been a lot of changes on the coaching setup. We've had a new goalkeeping coach appointed this week as well. So, a lot of change. Let's hope that we can get some fresh ideas around Ten Hag, because at times last season, guys, we know it looking back, watching back, thinking back. We knew it at the time that there was times when we went out onto the pitch and it did look like plan A went wrong. We didn't have a plan B. We didn't have any other options. We looked devoid of ideas, and hopefully bringing these other people in, maybe that's going to get something else out of the team, some different input, different insights, maybe freshen things up. Can't be a bad thing. We've seen Ferguson do that several times. He brought in different assistant coaches to bring in different voices and ideas and keep things fresh. But certainly it is starting to get interesting anyway, guys. Bart is on there. Good to see you, buddy. Southgate has never had to deal with an injury to the key player until the Euros. Yeah, I guess so. Southgate's just an odd one, man. I've never really been impressed with England's style of football. I know they go far in tournaments, but I think the consensus or the caveat really is that they always seem to get these really odd draws where they get a very easy run to the final. I don't know how. I seriously don't, but it is what it is. Bourne is down there as well. Don't believe Casemiro lost his legs overnight. Carrick, Scholes and Young did the job in their 30s. I think a lot of things must have went wrong behind the scenes. Yeah, look, definitely think that's going to add to things. I think Casemiro won his wages. I think the smartest thing to do is to move him on. There was issues at the FA Cup final. People weren't happy about either when he left early. So I would watch out for that there one. And I would say just generally I would be surprised if he's there, or at least United's intention is to keep him at the minute. Am I happy with the Dutchification of United's backroom staff? It was already pretty Dutch, Bart, but I don't know. I guess a good coach is a good coach no matter where they're from. But hopefully they're not going to be afraid to challenge Ten Hag on issues and present different ideas. That's kind of what we need. I think we need more collaboration from the coaching staff and just less accepting of how things are and blaming different things. I'm not too sure though. Bart, I'm impressed that you've roped in Vivel, but give his signings half a year or so. Yeah, a new head of recruitment. It looks to be a pretty short-term thing at the minute. That is first two windows under Ineos. So clearly we're going to be buying a decent chunk of players in this window and in January. That does seem to look like it's going to be the plan. So let's keep an eye out on that one. And if they hit the ground running and they do well, maybe Vivel ends up staying for a while. I'm not too sure. And Man Utd, what is going on with England fans getting divided over club players? Is Arsenal fans giving all the credit to Saka? Yeah, it's one of those. Everyone's just got their own agendas. England probably would have went out without Saka's goal because they're only shot on target in that regular time. How important is it for United to sign a left back with Amas in the wing and Shaw's wage packet, not to mention the number of other people we need in different positions? So it's an interesting one, Bart. It is, because United Sam put a story out today saying that during negotiations to sell Donny van de Beek to Girona, United mentioned the name Miguel Gutierrez. There have been tentative early stage talks and they potentially have an interest in the player. He is a good player and he could be an interesting option to bring in. But I think for me, whenever I look at it, I think you got two options. If you sign a Gutierrez, you're kind of saying that this guy is going to be the left back going forward. If the club believe in Harry Atmas, I might be more inclined to believe one of the stories last week that said United were considering bringing Sergio Reguilon back to be a cover option for Shaw and Malacia, and also to provide a pathway for Harry Amas into the first team as well. Daz says, can Ugarte be a Rodri? Absolutely not. He's nowhere near as good on the ball. Cannot progress the player like Rodri. He's aggressive. He brings his own skill set to the game, but he doesn't have the on ball quality of a Rodri. Far from it. Far from it. Bar said, who out of your British players would you be willing to sell? Should United sell their starters to balance their books, like City and Chelsea? I think Greenwood gets sold. I think Marseille coming in with an official bid today does kind of push that story along, and there is talks between the club. United either would like a decent fee now, so about £30 million, or they'd be willing to loan him out for a season with an obligation to buy and a high sell-on clause. Either of those options could be decent. Why don't United's academy dominate the age group of teams of England? They do, to be fair. The under-18s, I think, had absolutely dominated their league season last year. So that was good to see. Obviously, I think the year before that, we won the Youth Cup, possibly the season before that. But United dominated their under-18s. They won the league, went most of the season unbeaten as well. So very impressive from them. And it does look to be a good generation coming through the 18s. 21s, maybe not so much at the minute. Dad said Kante type. But I mean, Kante and Rodri are very different players in of themselves. Kante has got his own skills. Rodri has his own skills. Very different players as well. Dark Rose looking... Bard just said an alarm clock as well. But yeah, that's an interesting one. Do you have a quick update on Casemiro as well from United Muppeteers? Casemiro is of interest to Saudi clubs. Their director, Aminalo, I guess, is placing him with other clubs in the Saudi Pro League, but as of yet, no move has materialised. His high wages are a barrier to move elsewhere in Europe. He had a difficult second season at United, and all parties feel it's best to move on, although a real option hasn't quite opened up, and he will return in the meantime. Significantly affects United's transfer budget and the midfield based on what happens here. I think we've been sold. Dark Row, what's happening with Maguire? There was talking United might try to sell Maguire. I don't think we're going to sell... I don't think we're going to sell Maguire. I think we'd sooner sell Lindelof. And there does seem to be Lindelof talk as well, linking him with a move to Fenerbahce and a reunion with Jose Mourinho, which could happen. Dad said, wanted a midfield general. Ugarte would bring his own skills. He's a really fierce player. He will attempt a lot of tackles. He doesn't always win his tackles. He makes a lot of interceptions. You've seen in Copa America the way he stood up and scored a really important penalty for Uruguay, that he does have a good head on his shoulders, and there is that kind of aggressiveness to his game. So if you think that we're a team that's been a little bit passive in midfield, that's been a little bit toothless in midfield, Ugarte is not a bad option. He will get stuck in. He will make tackles. He'll probably give quite a few fouls away, pick up some bookings here and there, but he will do that. He's probably not going to get on the ball like Rodri and just dominate a game and dictate the play, but he has his own skills. I would question him in, I guess, two key areas, and those mostly are going to be on-ball quality, and it's going to be his low success rate in aerial duels, but maybe we can see that there. Katie said, Ugarte, a destroyer, very good at breaking up attacks, lacks in progressive passes, carries the ball well. Rodri is far superior. Yeah, Rodri's just the best in his position, though it's a hard comparison to make, but certainly there's positives, I guess, to signing Ugarte, but there are also some drawbacks. He's not a fix-all solution. He's not quite that guy as well. What does Ugarte destroy? All right, Bart. Bart absolutely loves it. Was there something else I wanted to bring? Looks like a little bit of news there. Manchester Evening News said Greenwood close to United exit. I'm assuming that's just going to be a repost of the earlier stories from some better and more reliable journalists. That's pretty much it. Look, guys, I'm going to leave the stream here because I have to go to the gym now, which is always not fun in this hit, but it is what it is. So look, guys, thanks so much for joining in today. I'll be on tomorrow as well, and we'll do a longer stream tomorrow, hopefully with some more better news in terms of our transfers and some more updates to bring you guys as well. Look, guys, I really do appreciate you guys, and I will see everyone tomorrow.